This woman is taking a raw fish and gnawing on it, and this in order to produce breast milk for the baby next to her. It turns out that Mia's family was about to be smuggled across the border, but Mia's container was searched and all the other stowaways were killed. She was the only one lucky enough to escape. That night, the cruise ship was hit by a storm and all the containers fell into the sea. When she woke up, she suddenly felt a pain in her stomach. It turned out that the baby was about to be born. She rushed to open the goods in the container. Crisper boxes, sweatshirts, TVs, headphones. All these are useless. Luckily, the last box contained wine. Mia felt desperate, but looked at the baby in her belly and was revitalized. First, she removed the seals and plugged the small holes and made a simple drain to ensure that the water in the cargo box could drain out in time. Next, she began to count the supplies. Now there are 2 bottles of water and a loaf of bread, a drill, a box of canned goods, a lighter and a flashlight. A few days later, suddenly her water broke. The wind and waves were so strong that the sea was about to soak into the container. She put up with the pain and plugged the hole again. Then she took a deep breath. She finally gave birth in the sea. Heavy rains have caused the water level to rise. Mia ate the canned food, but still no breast milk. She knew the baby would die if she kept going, so she started making holes in the container to get to the top. On the 5th day, she was about to make it, but the drill stopped working. So she grabbed a knife and started sewing. Her hands were bleeding. On the 7th day, the knife broke. Firstly, she realized there was a lot of water on top. She climbed to the top and licked it with her tongue. Suddenly, it started to rain heavily. She rushed to catch the rainwater in boxes, but the boxes that floated up inspired her. She threaded the rope that bound the goods through the hole and used her body weight to pull it down. The top of the container was slowly pulled down. After 10 days of being trapped, she finally saw the sun. But when she got out of the container, the vastness of the sea made her fall into despair again. In order for the child to survive, she made a harpoon to catch fish. She smashed the TV screen and tried to use the reflection to call for help, but they all failed. At this point, her thighs are still cut by sharp iron. She was removing a metal crook and attaching a copper wire from her headphones. She took a few sips of wine and picked up a homemade surgical needle. The pain of the punctured muscle almost made her faint. After finishing the stitches, Mia began to weave a fishing net out of the headphones. This diaper sank again and a fish got into the trap. After 3 days of starvation, she ate raw fish straight away and her breast milk became very plentiful. She wrote some distress notes, put them in boxes and threw them into the sea. Hoping someone would find it, she realized that the plastic container she threw a few days earlier had floated back again. On the 26th day, she made a raft out of boards and boxes. Suddenly, a seagull took the fish from the box. Mia was delighted. It meant they were not far from land. But before she was ready, the container suddenly lost its balance and began to sink. She fought her way upstream, but the baby floated away. She cried out, but there was no response. Suddenly, a whale appeared. The splash woke the sleeping child. The baby's cries helped Mia find her way. After 3 days of drifting, Mia was exhausted. She opens all the crisper boxes. The fish soon attracted a flock of seagulls. They were finally spotted by a fishing boat, but as it approached the raft, all they saw was the baby. Then the woman realized there was a rope attached to the raft. Mia had sunk to the bottom. The woman pressed hard on her chest, but there was no response. Just when they wanted to give up, suddenly the baby cried out. She spat out a mouthful of water. Looking at herself and her daughter sitting on the boat, Mia was moved to tears. After 30 days of being trapped, they were finally rescued.